Welcome. Today we're going to tackle a subject that is absolutely crucial for every single citizen in Sri Lanka, your rights when dealing with the law. You know, there's that saying that ignorance of the law is no excuse, but how are you supposed to know the rules in the first place? Well, our goal here is to change that. Understanding things like arrest and bail, that's not just for lawyers. It's essential knowledge that protects your freedom. So let's break down exactly what you need to know step by step.
Okay, so let's just ask the question straight up. The very idea of being arrested, it can be really unsettling, right? And that's mostly because of the unknown. But here's the thing, knowledge is your best defense against that kind of uncertainty. So let's replace that anxiety with some clarity by walking through the exact process and understanding the protections that are built right into the system for you.
First things first, let's get one crucial point straight. An arrest is not a verdict of guilt, not even close. The law is very clear. It's just one specific step in a much longer process, and it has very clear boundaries. Whether someone is guilty or innocent, that's something only a court can decide, and that happens way down the line.
So when can the police actually lawfully arrest someone? It's not just some arbitrary power they have. The law lays out very specific conditions that have to be met before anyone can be taken into custody.
Basically, a lawful arrest can happen in one of two ways. The first, and most common, is with a warrant. That's an official order from a magistrate's court. The second way is without a warrant. But, and this is key, this is the exception, not the rule. It's reserved for very specific situations, usually involving pretty serious offenses.
And that brings us to a really important legal term you should know, cognizable offense. Think of this as a special category of serious crimes. We're talking theft, assault, murder, that gives the police the authority to make an arrest without needing a warrant first. But even then, it's not a guess. The arrest has to be based on a reasonable suspicion, and that suspicion has to be backed up by actual information or evidence.
All right, now we're getting to what is probably the most important part of this whole discussion. If an arrest happens, you are not powerless. The Constitution of Sri Lanka gives you a shield, a set of fundamental rights. Let's look at exactly what those protections are.
This one is completely non-negotiable. Article 11 of our Constitution makes it crystal clear. Torture or any kind of cruel, inhuman, or degrading treatment is absolutely forbidden. There are no exceptions, no excuses, and no circumstances where this is ever allowed. Period.
Remember this number, 24. From the moment of an arrest, a legal clock starts ticking. The police have a maximum of 24 hours to bring an individual before a magistrate, and this isn't just some guideline. It is a critical safeguard against being held indefinitely. It makes sure the courts get involved quickly.
So, what happens when that 24-hour window is up? The arrested person is brought before a magistrate. This is the first really critical checkpoint where the judicial system steps in to independently review everything the police have done. Now, the magistrate's role here is incredibly important. They aren't there to just rubber stamp whatever the police ask for. Their job is to act as an independent check on power, to scrutinize the reasons for the arrest, and to decide what should happen next, based purely on the law.
At this stage, the magistrate really has three main options. First, if there's just not enough evidence, they can order an immediate release. Second, they can grant bail, maybe with some conditions attached. And third, they can order the person to be remanded, which just means they're kept in custody while the investigation continues. And that last point brings us to a cornerstone of our entire justice system, bail. The whole idea is built on a fundamental principle, that everyone is innocent until proven guilty, and so their freedom should always be the priority. This statement, right from Sri Lanka's Bail Act, just perfectly captures the whole philosophy. It means the system's default setting is freedom. Being held in remand is supposed to be the rare exception. And why does this matter so much? Because it actively stops the system from being used to punish people before they've even had their day in court.
So what exactly is bail? A lot of people get this wrong. It is not a fine. It's not a penalty. It's simply a guarantee, a promise, usually secured by money or property, that says you will show up for your future court dates. That's it. Its whole purpose is just to make sure you come back to court.
Now, the law does make a distinction between bailable and non-bailable offenses. For the less serious, bailable ones, getting bail is generally your right. For more serious, non-bailable offenses, it's up to the court's discretion. But, and this is so important to know, even for very serious crimes, the court still has the power to grant bail. It's never automatically off the table.
Look, in a perfect world, these rules would always be followed to the letter. But what happens when they aren't? What's your recourse if you feel like your rights have been violated?
Well, the legal system actually provides several powerful safety nets. If you believe an arrest was unlawful, there are very clear paths you can take. You can file a fundamental rights application directly with the Supreme Court. You can file something called a habeas corpus petition, which is a legal demand for the state to explain to a judge why they're holding you. Or you can make a complaint to the Human Rights Commission. These are real, powerful tools designed to hold the system accountable.
And all of this brings us to what might be the most important takeaway of all. Sri Lankan courts have said this over and over again. The convenience of an investigation can never be used as an excuse to trample on a citizen's fundamental right to liberty. Your freedom is protected by the Constitution itself.
So we'll end here. Understanding these rules, the rules of arrest, that 24-hour clock, the principle that bail is the default, this isn't just academic trivia. It changes things. It transforms the law from something that might feel intimidating into a system with clear rules that you can actually understand. And that knowledge, well, that's your protection. It's what empowers you as a citizen. Thanks so much for joining me.
Okay,